Okay, let's jump right into it, man. So, basically, let's talk about King Tut, right? So, when we're speaking of King Tut, you have to remember of the incarnations of King Tut. Right? So, we're talking about Osiris, Sekhmet, Amun-Ra, Heru, Amuneten, Menes, right? Renefre, right? Atum-Re, Atum-Ra, Ptah. These are all the same incarnations of the same being, right? Heru. Alright, so we're moving forward now. So there was a war. There was a war against the Greeks, if I'm not mistaken. And at that time, King Tut was dressed in a gold kilt with a blue and gold headdress, right? They won the war. After King Tut, he went back to his chambers, right? So when he was because you gotta understand something, King Tut was the only one in that dynasty that could connect with the Sphinx, right? And that had protection from, the Sphinx. And also he had the pygmy that's always been with him, right? Called Bes, right? So the pygmy Bes basically guided him telepathically to a certain sequence and codes and a certain ritual. This ritual was in order to manifest and obviously ignite the ship, all right? So when he cracked the code, he was put upon the throne at age 13, right? The nobleman. Right? When you look at the acronym Menset Keneb Keb Unter, that means the nobleman, right? So the nobleman has always been King Tut, right? So a series of situations happened with me per se. I caught a high desert fever, and I was going through, dreams, set of dreams, but these dreams were sets of parallel timeline dreams and instructions, right? So in the dream, you got to remember, this is the time when, we're meditating and, we're manifesting the visions of past life, right? So in the past life dream, he was executed, right? And how they executed him, they waited for him to go to sleep. So when he went to sleep, they broke his leg, his right leg. No, sorry. They broke his left leg, okay? And when they broke his left leg, they tried to take out the serpent or the naga or the serpentine, as you see right here, right? Which is connected to the intestines, travels up into the brain, and out comes the cobra from the forehead, the third eye, cyclops eye, etc. I got to build on that because, the Ku Klux Klan, they stole a lot of information from us and they put it in their notes. And it was funny because everything that they were saying was basically a Kemetic, download. So moving forward, they tried to take out the serpentine, right? So when they took out the serpentine, right, they embalmed him. So after they embalmed King Tut, they realized that they no longer had connection with the Sphinx. You follow? So when they lost this connection with the Sphinx, here comes, the Cleopatra situation. Because you got to remember, Cleopatra was also the person that opened the floodgates and let the Greeks and the Romans in to invade via Byzantine. Okay, so there was a Roman soldier named Byzantine. He was actually a cannibal. He was into vampirism, etc. So you got to remember there was two sets of different vampires. There was the carnivores and there was the omnivores, right? So the omnivores were the ones more in tune with the Ma'at, okay? So when they did this, right, they wasn't able to move the ship anymore. So the ship has been dormant all these decades. You follow what I'm saying? So I've received a few codes via my dreams and instructions of the Imperial Alpha Omega ceremony, right? So the Alpha Omega ceremony consists of a few elements, a few instruments, a few instructions that I'm not going to tell anyone, right? So at this present time, the Sphinx and the tetrahedron, or should I say the three pyramids, which is Giza, that makes the tetrahedron, should activate after I do this ceremony and meditated activation, which is a series of syllables, right? Because the syllables are symbols. So if we look at the symbols of any kind of a music note, etc., they give off a certain vibration. So these vibrations will be enhanced from the water, right? As you can see, you see the hydro generator in the reel that we just went past. So that hydro stands for hydrogen generator, right? So we know the molecules and the elements that make hydrogen, which I'm not going to go into. So this is for my true 144. The codes, I have the codes, right? So now we have to make this journey to Giza, right? But the activation has always been through telepathy. You follow? So to activate with the Sphinx will be done today, right? But also to receive the codes from the Sphinx will be done easily through the ley lines. So say for instance, we don't really have to be in chem to activate the craft, right? So we know that the tetrahedron craft, it flows off of crystals, right? Quartz crystals, right? So these quartz crystals stand for the crystalline 144 true family. I'm not talking about this fake 144 that's going around partaking in music and all these low vibrational frequencies, because you see it's dealing with the frequency. So say for instance, yeah, you might see me put a little hip hop in the back of my reels. That's just to, get the attention of the young folk, but really and truly is detrimental to the hearing, right? So we know that the Egyptians used sound and water to levitate certain things, right? Which you can see on the build with the Anunnaki, because they explain that. But that's not really them. So you got to understand why we left the Anunnaki is because it was overtaken by the blonde hair, blue eye, Enlil beings. Follow? Which is the Enlil beings, who are the vampiric deficient DNA strand that need, these certain elements to keep surviving under the sun. All right, so we're moving forward now. So the moon cycle is going to come to an end. Well, it actually has come to an end in 2020, but it still is a little bit of remnant. So what comes with the moon cycle is the werewolves, the vampires, the warlocks, the witches, etc. So the pagans, they got their little cycle, and they're trying to get rid of the real 144 L's, or should I say the 144 pharaohs and pharaohs, to continue their moon cycle. You follow? That's not gonna happen. So moving forward with these hymns, because we look at the book of Psalms, which was written from Imhotep. We look at all of these breaking downs of Saluman and etc. They was always using hymns, or we can say syllables or symbols, or however you want to say it, to harmonize certain wavelengths of activation. So this ritual I'm doing tonight, follow? True, like